So after 8 hours of editing, I ended that last video and went to render it because I added that text at the end, went to render it. 3 hours to get it to render. It would get almost all the way through the rendering and it would catch an error and I don't know, it just quit rendering and shut off. So after about the 5th time of doing it, I went back to the file where I was trying to save it, and one copy of it must have completed and then errored out because there was a copy in there, which was the copy you got to see of the last video. So I did get it through there. If I have to, this video I'm making now, I'll render it in 3 clips. I'll do like the first third of it, save it, do the next third and save it, do the next third and save it, because the full video that I did in the 16 gigabytes that I talked about in the last video processed okay on that software, so the Kdenlive. So if I have to, I'll do it in 3 segments and then bring all 3 back and render it into one. But I'll figure it out sooner or later. I'm just not sure why it won't render. They're not that big of videos. There's not a lot of stuff going on. I think it was 13 clips put into 30 segments with a couple photos and some text, and that was about it. So it wasn't that big of a process. So I'm not sure why it wouldn't work. But anyhow, in between all that, while I was taking breaks, I come out and cut the rest of this down. There's a couple trees in there. I basically left the lemongrass around the outside, and I left her 3 of those Cha-Ams back down at the bottom there that she could use. Right as I stepped out the door, it started sprinkling, so my camera's getting a little wet, as you can see, sprinkling. My variegated palm tree we put in there a month or 2 ago, still there, along with all these other plants. I think I counted, I don't even remember now, I think I counted 28 trees between that corner and this corner. Why, I don't know. The grass, although some of it turned brown, as I said before, update here, we got green in the middle of almost every one of these clusters. Not sure why they died off. Maybe it just got too warm that first afternoon. I'm not sure, because it started turning right away. But every little cluster has some green left in it. And then the other thing I did between renders is I come out and threw a little bit, I cleaned the weeds out of here, put a little paper down, and put rocks around my little pine trees. But as I said before, as the tree grows, it's going to push them out, so it's just for temporary looks. Update on the dogs. So we drove by there the other day when we were headed over to get them rocks. He was out there working on his well pump. We stopped to ask him about the digger thing I needed to put the footings in over there. And I had her ask him about the dogs. He pointed toward the house, said something in Thai, and when we got done and drove away, I said, "What did he say about the dogs?" She said they're over there by the house. But she said he was really like reluctant or something, like he didn't want to talk about it. But I've yet to see the dogs, so I don't know what he did. He got rid of the dogs. I don't know what happened to them, but they're not bothering me anymore. I hope nothing bad happened to him, but he did something, but he doesn't want to talk about it either, so I don't know. But I've seen 2 dogs in the last week. The one we saw on the camera, and then there was one this morning, a black one walking down that road over there. But it was a big, bushy, curved tail on it, so it wasn't one of his dogs. His are all short-haired, skinny-ass dogs. So I made a decision on the final layout of that building. I know what I'm going to do. We went over to the concrete place today to see about the little footing things. I forgot it was Sunday. We drove over there. They're closed. Sometimes Sunday matters, sometimes it doesn't. Just depends on the business. But anyhow, I could go ahead and start digging those holes if I could get my digger, but Sawpit went into the village. We did talk to him about it, but I don't know where it's at over there, and I don't want to just go walk around over there. Morning in Paradise. Yesterday we went to the concrete store, and as I said earlier, it was closed. So we're going to go over there this morning and either pick up the footings or see if they can custom make them and then have them go ahead and do that. I did get out here and rearrange this for the new layout that I talked about. There are 9 stakes now. It's going to be a 4.5 by 4.5. I'll talk about it all later. I'm not going to bore you with it right now because it is starting to sprinkle and I don't want to be out here too long. The other thing I did yesterday, I talked to Sawpit about this fence and said, hey, I left that out there so you can like grow viney vegetables and stuff on it. And she's like, I don't want it. So I come out here and just pulled all the fence off it. And I was dug down here. I was going to snap these off and bury them. And I thought, well, I've got 4 free ones already, like loose. That these 2 standing upside down are the leaners. They're full post intact. And there's one laying on the ground down there in the corner and one there. So I got 4 full size posts that are still good. So I told her if she wants, she can see if somebody wants to come out and dig these up, they can have them for free. Then I don't have to mess with them, and then they're gone. I told her I'd leave them here for a week, so they got a week to come and get them. If not, then I'm going to start snapping them off and getting rid of them. A lot of talk online about my plants and my vines. This mesh I put here, somebody had a good idea. They said, hey, you should just put a cable there. They'll just wrap around that and climb right up there, which is true because you see it everywhere. Usually where you don't want it. But I've already got these in. I think I'm just going to leave them. A lot of talk about the mesh. People are worried it's going to break down and fall apart. The vines are going to fall in the water or something. I don't know. But I can tell you that mesh along that side over there, which is the same stuff I pulled out of here. That's smaller openings. That's bigger openings. That stuff's been there for at least 2 years. Yeah, about 2 years, and it hasn't broke down at all yet. I think within 2 years, those vines will be well attached to the structure itself, because once they get up top, the steel will support the mesh. So even if the mesh gives up, the plants will be on the steel. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. As you can see, that plant there's doubled in height since I put it there. This is the vining jasmine, also known as Arabian jasmine. I was looking online this morning, and they don't have any like little pigtails or claws or fingers or any kind of attachment things. They just kind of grow up through the mesh, and that's how they climb. So I'm a little bit worried they're not going to be what I expected. But we'll leave them a little longer because, as you can see, it's growing. That whole top piece is new. You can see here, it's not attaching by any means whatsoever. And there are no little, like I said, pigtails or claws or fingers or anything on there to grab. But it says it'll climb up through here. So I don't know. I'm worried that it isn't going to grab the bridge and climb is what I'm worried about. You see a lot of new leaves on here. I'm just not sure if they're going to do what I want them to do. The ones I took out of here are sitting over there. Those things are climbing like crazy. Right here. So I told her yesterday, she better be careful. It's going to get a hold of that tree and you're not going to be able to get it out of there. But I was considering putting these back up there. This is all new since these new leaves here. This is all new since we put them over here just a few weeks ago. This was the one, somebody cautioned me about the weight of these because the branches get pretty thick on them when they get mature. So I was a little bit worried about them getting too heavy. So I don't know. I still have mixed emotions about it. I'd like to see something that's going to grow that fast over there, but I just need to be patient, I think. We'll give these jasmine a little more time, see what they look like in a few weeks, because they've only been there, what, a week? Anyhow, we'll give them a little more time and see what they do. If I don't like them in a week or two, then we'll talk about changing them out. All right, we're going to get ready to go get the concrete or order the concrete footings and stop and pick up that digger for over here because, as I said, I've got this all marked out, so I could start digging any minute. I just need to verify one more time it's square. I did the 3-4-5 method to square this corner and then just run everything else off a measurement because these don't need to be exact. This is just where I'm going to put a hole. So once I get the hole in the concrete in the bottom, then we'll do the exact measurement and squareness with the footings, the legs. So like I said, those I just did off measurements. I just made sure this angle here was square. And then when I get the legs in there, I'll do a cross measurement to make sure the 4 corners are exactly right. And then once I'm sure the 4 corners are right, then we'll just take a string line basically and line up the center post in there, measure it, line it up. Same thing there. All right, I have to apologize for thinking bad things. We stopped over to get the digger from Dogman. I count 9 dogs here right now. I don't know what he did to get them to stay here, but I haven't seen these dogs for a week, but they're all laying right here. And there's the big black one's missing. He was over here when we pulled up. The gate's wide open. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what he did, but he did something. 2, 4, 6, 8 of them right here in front of us, but there was a big black one here too, so it took off somewhere. But there's nobody here. We can't find the shovel, so she was trying to call. Long story short, I don't know. Somehow he got the dogs to stay in here. I don't know what he did. But that's wide open back there too. I know it is. This is all open over by the field. Strange. But I will say half of them look like there's half starved, so you see the ribs on that one. That one laying there is sick, she said. There are lots of battle wounds on them. And maybe that's why they're staying here. Maybe they got in a few dog fights and decided they're better off living right here by themselves. But just wanted to say I'm sorry for thinking bad things about the guy. As long as he keeps them here, it's okay, I guess. So I stopped to do my civic duty. But there's a bunch of bees on this thing right now. One there, there. I'm afraid if I move it, I'm going to get bit. I'm going to try this carefully. Here. Well, I don't want to get them mad. He hit me, but he didn't get me. So we went over to our local concrete place, and they don't have 50 centimeter posts or footings, whatever you want to call them. But as I've showed in previous videos, it's a cast that's made out of steel. And to make the various lengths, they just take the end mold and move it to different locations in that cast. And from what I've seen, because they just got some, like, they're not wing nuts, but screws with T-handle screws, yeah, that they just tighten up wherever they want it. In my mind, you just move it to your whatever length you want, tighten it down. And they have some marks on there that preset, you know, the measurements, so the guys just look at it and set it there and tighten it, and da-da-da. Lady says, oh, those aren't very popular, we don't make those. Well, can you make some? Oh, no, they're not very popular. Okay, thanks. Because we had stopped in Canthalac and looked over there, and they had them, but they didn't have enough. They said they'd have to order them So I didn't waste my time with these locals. I tried to spend my money local, but they didn't want it. So Sumpit, on the way home, Sumpit called the other place in Canthalac, and we had talked to them the other day when we were in there. So she called them up, and they said, yeah, no problem. They ordered them, and they make them right there. But kudos to them. They don't want you to just cast them and then haul them. She said, well, it'll be a week because we want them to dry nice, set up, cure. So that's why I say kudos to them. They're not just going to hand it to me half green and let me break it. So anyhow, it'll be a week before we get the footings for this. I don't want to dig the holes yet because it's going to rain and they'll just fill with rain. If I get a hole, I'm going to be tempted to put concrete in them. I don't want mud on top of my concrete, so we're on hold for a few days, and I got nothing on my project list now because I think I'm all caught up. Oh, I finally planted my apple mangoes. I put one right over here in the corner here, and then one down below where that dying papaya was. She got coconut trees hidden everywhere, man. So, it's been a few months ago. Somebody cautioned me about not having a cage on these fans because those blades, they're plastic, of course. They'll get brittle and could fly off there, and they do, and I know that. So I occasionally check them. They're okay. And I thought if I ever felt concerned that they were brittle, I might just buy a new blade. You can get them on Lazada. They're pretty cheap. Just change the whole fan blade out. But when they said that, I got it in my head that I was going to put these cages back on here. But when you put the cages on, the birds make nests on the back of them and then down inside of them. So what I decided I would do is I'd cut all these little cross pieces out of the back and most of them out of the front except around the outside. That way, if one of the blades do come off, at least it'll hit that and slow down. I mean, it's going to make a hell of a mess and scare the hell out of somebody, but it'll be safer than just having the blade flying across the room. So I did this one today. I'm just going to run it like this for a while, and I can tell you right now, I've had it running for probably an hour. I think I'm going to do the other one as well. I've had both cages hanging in there for a year now. And as you know, now I'm waiting for my footings out there to get cast and cured. So I've got a week on my hands to just find little jobs to do. So I got this taken care of. I'll probably end up doing the other one tomorrow or the next day. But the other thing I did this morning, I went to town and got a couple bags of that rock that I use for concrete. Very expensive buying it this way, but anyhow. Where I cross the pond road out there to feed the fish every morning and evening, when it rains, that road is very muddy, as you've seen. So I'm just going to make a little stone path across there. So I got rock to walk on instead of mud. I was going to wait till this evening when it cools off a little bit, but there's some rain clouds in the area. I just checked. It is dry enough to get back to with the pickup right now, so we're going to go back there and get that done. Wasn't real sure if one bag would be enough, but it would have been. But I always keep a pile of this in the backpack. I don't know if you noticed. I keep a pile of this rock around, so if I need to mix a little concrete for something, I have it. This in a pile of sand. And I'll get a rake and smooth this out a little bit once I get everything put away. But I want to get this before that rain gets over here. If it gets over here. I got a whole bag left there, so I'll get back there and get that dumped right away. And then come out and smooth this out with a rake. Oh shit. I felt it sink when I backed in there. I knew I was in trouble. Tractor man don't have his tractor anymore. So, I'm not even going to mess around. It won't go forward or back. It's just slipping. So I'm just going to leave it sit right here until we can get somebody out here with a tractor or something to pull on it. That sucks. So knowing full well I wasn't going to be able to drive that thing out of there, I called my wife and said, hey, you need to find a tractor. Well, it turns out she was right down the road here, so she's like, oh, but anyhow, she come home and like almost demanded that I try to dig it out. So I tried to dig it out. I knew it wasn't going to work. So in the process, I ended up just making it worse. Because the more I rocked it back and forth, and it won't move, it just wiggles. It just kept going down and down and down. Now the front end's clear down. I even got so desperate I aired down the back tires, and it gets a lot of good traction. But anyhow, I went to town. I found one of the guys. He's right here. Woot. He's worked on some electrical stuff for me before. He went and found me a tractor that's on its way right now. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with my bag of rocks now. It's too heavy to move out. Normally I just like use what I use and then take it over there and dump the rest of it out of the back of the pickup. But I'm not going to chance getting in there again. I drove right across it, but I was, as you saw, I was moving pretty good when I did. I aired down the tires, which helps a lot, and it got a lot of traction because it was trying to pull it, but the A-frame was right down in the mud, right here. And you can't see it now because I drove over it, but the A-arms were down in the mud there. So I got the truck out of the mud. Now I got to figure out how to get the rocks out of the truck. I was trying to pull around here, but this grass was sticking up here. I thought I was closer to the edge than what I was. I probably could make this corner, but I don't want to take a chance getting in that again. But obviously I'm going to have to get something in here and fill this in. See if I can get that guy with that little truck to bring me a little bit of dirt or something. Dump one load here and then smooth it out. Where all the little bubbles on the pond are. Fed the fish already. I chopped up those papayas from that little tree yesterday and threw them in here thinking maybe the fish might eat them, but it doesn't look like they like them. I think I'm going to get 2 more of these trees and put one. That one's already got one near the corner. I think I'll put one more here. So I'll get one more. I think we actually have some up there. Put one more right here. And I might set one over here so that when I'm driving the truck, I can easily see this corner once the trees get a little bigger. We might have a nice sunset here in a minute. Look at the rays. Water's right at the bottom of my pipe, so when it rains, it's going in the pipe and probably running over here because they still haven't brought any water in from the field. Boy, this rice looks like crap. I don't think they planted this. This is just weeds. The whole thing's weeds. I know they planted these. We saw them do it on camera. This looks terrible here. See, she didn't have the money to get that dirt spread out, so she probably don't have the money to plant this. If I wanted it, it'd be a good time to go ask about buying that sucker. Because obviously she can't afford to have it. But I don't want that one. I'd like to have half of this one here. Not this one, the one right beside the house. The rest of this I don't care about. See, I asked her to keep this open so I could get through here with a big mower. But this is too tight now. I can maybe get a small riding mower through here, but that's it. Those are huge leaves. These are the teak trees here, I believe. Giant leaves. Some pit's out here cutting them off for some reason. Whew. Look at these worms. Eating the hell out of this teak tree. Ants all over it too. One down here. Another one here. Man, those things spit black shit out all over. Hope it's not poisonous. So I said something to her about taking that one out of the middle of there. Ooh, the leaves are really drooping. Taking that one out of the middle of there and putting it over here somewhere. And putting one of them purple bananas there. Mainly just to justify pulling that out of there. And then just stick it right here. Somebody's motor. Oh, he's over there in the field. So anyhow, I think I'm going to have to get a small load of dirt and dump in that corner. Raise that up because as I talked about in the last video or early this video, I think it was the last video when I took that fence out, that that's a low spot there, so it just gets saturated and the water soaks in there, so it's always going to be a soft spot if I don't raise it up. Got my little gravel path across here. All right, the stuck truck drama is over, so I'm gonna wrap up this video.